Welcome. It's Build Your Wealth with Trajan Wealth featuring Jeff Jr. I'm Rusty Humphries and very excited, although I'm nervous about this one because I did not know this was a medical show. Talking about my prostate, it makes me a little uncomfortable, but hey, whatever you want to talk about, I'm here. So what is it about the prostate I need to learn?
If you think that makes you uncomfortable, just imagine how I feel.
Oh, wait a second.
No, this is probate.
Probate.
Right.
Probate.
Right.
Different than prostate.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. I was sweating there for a moment.
Although I'll bet you it feels about the same.
I'm sure it's definitely a pretty tough procedure.
I mean, probate, what is that?
Probate is a lawsuit.
Right. You don't want probate,
You
right?
don't want probate. I mean, probate is a lawsuit. That's what probate is.
Okay, and it's a lawsuit. I think you told me last time, wasn't it like the state suing you?
That's
to
right.
get your money.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Well, it's not necessarily to get your money per se, but it's to allow them to decide where it goes and how it gets dispersed. But what does the state know about your finances and your assets?
Right.
Nothing.
I remember I had an aunt who was like in her late 70s, and her husband had died, and the thing had been in probate like 5 or 6 years. Is that
right.
about right? And that was rough.
The average length of probate is 18 months. Can you just imagine having your loved one's assets tied up for a year and a half, not knowing really what's going on, but then having fees incurred along the way?
And she's just a little old lady. I mean, you don't want to have that happen to your loved one. Anyway, I don't know anything about probate. You have an expert that does, because you have this brand new exciting business, which is
that's right.
Trajan Estate.
Trajan Estate, that's right. So I'm going to introduce our CEO, Kent Phelps, who's an estate planning attorney, who can discuss this very topic a little bit more in detail with us.
Okay. Before we do, hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss the next show and share it with your friends. All right, you ready? Let's get the smart guy not talking about probate here on Build Your Wealth, the Trajan Wealth.
So we've got Kent Phelps to talk specifically about probate. Probate. So tell us a little bit, what is probate?
Well, there's a great joke in the field of lawyering. Probate is a lawsuit you file against yourself with your own money for the benefit of your creditors, is what we like to say.
That doesn't sound very funny.
No, it's really not fun. And so probate is actually a good thing. It's the system by which, it's the system that we have decided as a civilized society. Most of the time, right? Mm-hmm. As a civilized society, we've decided that we're going to adopt this system that will allow the orderly transfer of property from a deceased person to those who have a rightful claim under the law. And so it's a good thing, it's a desirable thing, but it's not the best way. There is a better way. And the reason for that is, I have my top 5 reasons why you want to avoid probate. The delay. About 18 months is typical, but I had a case that I referred out to another attorney about 6 years ago. I found out last year that after 5 years, that case resolved.
Wow.
After 5 years of probate and lots of family infighting. And that's the second reason to avoid probate is family conflict. So for the first 10 years of my career, I was actually a courtroom attorney. I litigated for 10 years, and I was in the courtroom all the time.
I'm sure you have some amazing stories.
It does make for some good stories, that's for sure. But I like to say that if you want to preserve harmony in the family, a court of law is hardly the best place to do that. Right, so family conflict is another reason to avoid probate. Privacy. It's really interesting to me that we go to such great lengths while we're alive to protect information that is most sensitive to us. I don't know about you, but the information that's most sensitive to me is my family information and my financial information.
Absolutely.
That is the very information that is open to public view in a probate action. It is public information. Anyone can go down to the courthouse and pull the file and see exactly what's going on. Another reason to avoid probate is loss of control. Basically, you are turning control of all of this over to the state, instead of keeping control in the hands of those who you want to be in control. And so the probate process involves the judge being in control of everything. The will, if you have one, is submitted to the court. If you don't have a will, then the judge simply looks to Arizona law to determine what should happen here. The judge has to identify and inventory all of the assets. The assets have to be appraised. The judge has to authenticate the will. In other words, the judge has to make sure that this will was actually signed by you in accordance with law. The judge has to resolve disputes between claimants. So you might have beneficiaries fighting against each other. You might have beneficiaries fighting against the executor. You might have creditors who have significant rights in a probate action, even to the point where a creditor can be appointed as the executor of your estate.
Wow.
And so the judge has to resolve all of these disputes. And at the end of the day, what the claimants in a probate action are trying to get is a court order that legally passes ownership from the deceased person to the rightful claimant.
And this is all public.
It's all public.
Everybody's sitting there listening to all of the finances and all of the troubles and all of the infighting, and it's all made public to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a story or two about some of the situations that you've seen and some of your experiences and what you just couldn't believe was happening?
Yeah, well, we're on the planning side, and so I get to experience the happy side of estate planning. But because we refer out these probate actions to others, we get to hear back about these things. And this one that I just mentioned to you, that took 5 years to resolve, is the one that really sticks out in my mind. And this was a blended family situation, which creates special challenges in probate, because now you have even more opportunity for conflict between the two sides of the family, or between, in this case, it was the children of the deceased and the stepmother who had a rightful claim in this particular case. And so you have stepmother arguing and fighting with the children, and then you have, in this particular case, we had a family business that was involved, and that can get especially messy. But regardless of the situation, it is just not the right environment to try to accomplish what most of us want to accomplish, which is the orderly administration of our estate by those who we choose for the benefit of those who we love and who we want to benefit in a much more friendly and harmonious manner.
Right. I mean, you can just imagine going through the death of a loved one, and now all of a sudden it all comes down to money. And that's unfortunate, but that's really the way that it plays out in many cases. You know, me speaking from experience dealing with clients, the transfer of, or the agreement of custody of kids or the custody of pets is done so much more quickly than the agreement on how the assets are going to get split and divided. I mean, that's really what it comes down to in most cases. So, you know, another thing is, if people have a will, does that mean they're covered? Does that mean they're good to go now if they just have a will?
Not if they want to avoid probate. So what a will can do is it can overrule state law so that at least you're choosing who the beneficiaries of your estate are. And then in addition to that, you can choose through your will who is in charge of your estate. Some states call it the personal representative, others call it the executor of the estate. So you can identify those people in your will, but at the end of the day, your will still has to be submitted to the probate court, and the judge is still in control.
Right. And we've worked so hard for our assets and our investments. We've worked hard for it our entire life. The first thing you want to do is protect those assets. So just in closing, why don't you tell us a little bit about why Trajan Estate?
Well, Trajan Estate is exclusively focused on estate planning. It's all we do. We are estate planning experts, and one of the things we're most proud about is that we actually don't charge our clients for emails or phone calls. So we are a flat fee firm. We want our clients to stay in touch with us, and so when they call us or they email us, we do not send our clients a bill in the mail for that. In addition, we work closely with Trajan Wealth so that clients can experience both their financial planning and their estate planning under one roof. I think that's a great benefit to the clients.
Awesome. I would agree completely. So thanks for your time, Ken.
You bet.
Okay, I learned one thing. The probate thing sounds like a really bad prostate thing.
Yeah, they're both equal. That's right. And problems.
Yes.
Equally problematic.
You do. So the one thing is, you do not want to get into probate. Is that a fair thing to say?
You definitely don't. You know, Kent listed 5 different areas of concern, and I think just being in the public and your dirty laundry being aired to everybody, I mean, that's cause to get a trust in and of itself.
Okay. I know you're an expert in this, not as much as Kent, but is there anything that he said that kind of sparked you a little bit, made you think?
It just reinforced the importance of having a trust. You know, we have Trajan Wealth for the investment side of the equation, but then adding Trajan Estate really adds another layer of safety to our clients.
That's awesome. By the way, there is a website for that. That's TrajanEstate.com, TrajanEstate.com. And, you know, if you want to work with Jeff and his team, TrajanWealth.com is really an important resource. So do yourself a favor. Don't get a probate thing in your life. Make sure you go to TrajanEstate.com and see what they can do for you. And again, the great team at TrajanWealth.com is there for you. The phone number is listed as well. We have a lot more information coming up. This is a great resource, so make sure that you hit that subscribe button and the notification button so you don't miss any great information that is coming up. So we sure appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll catch you next time. My name is Rusty Humphries. This is Jeff Jr., and this is Build Your Wealth with Trajan Wealth featuring Jeff Jr.
Investment advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Services discussed are those of the law firm Trajan Estate, LLC. Engagement with Trajan Estate, LLC for services discussed are not required and is separate and not related to services provided by Trajan Wealth, LLC. Please note, Trajan Wealth, LLC does not render legal services.